Depending on what happens with Sebastian Fundora and Brian Mendoza, if Fundora is successful, can you imagine a fight with Sebastian Fundora and Jesus Ramos? Can you imagine?
I mean, that's a fight that I think a lot of fans would love.
Before I read the cards, I think that we need more fights like this, domestic level fights where you have two undefeated fighters in a division, or two fighters that are, you know, fringe contenders or in that contender category that fight each other before they move on to a title.
5 seconds in round number 7. Our referee in charge, Tony Weeks, stops the contest upon request to the corner. He is the winner by way of technical knockout and still undefeated, Jesus Mono Ramos.
For example,
Jesus Ramos remains undefeated.
Before we get to the post-fight interviews, for example, I'm just going off of fights like I remember off the top of my head that I covered. Like when Billy Joe Saunders had fought Chris Eubank Jr., that was considered what's called over in the UK, interview, a domestic level clash. And basically, both of those fighters had to fight each other in order to get to a title shot. You see what I'm saying? And this is a fight that Joey Spencer, the masochist, had won it, because the reason why I say he's a masochist because he must love pain, because he wasn't throwing any punches. He did get dropped in round number 1. Maybe that was the that made him gun shy, but at one point in time in round number 2, 3, and 4, he just was taking punches and not throwing anything at all. And it was the body language of he was trying to set up something. So I'm thinking to myself, is he trying to tire him out? Is he trying to get, you know, Jesus Ramos to tire himself out or punch himself out? Because if that was the case, that was the worst game plan I've ever seen. And Jesus Ramos, by the way, looked huge in there. And as I'm looking at 20-0 with 16 KOs now, 22 years old, he's 5'10" listed at, and I can say he's a legit 5'10". But to see that he's fought as low as 140 pounds is crazy. And on paper, Joey Spencer, as far as the weights were concerned, was the bigger fighter. Not in the ring, but it will look like Joey Spencer would be the bigger, stronger fighter, but he was not. But let's listen to the post-fight interview. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. Jesus Ramos gets a corner stoppage. Well, Joey Spencer's corner threw in the towel in round number 7 for TKO, for Jesus Ramos to get the win and now move up in the rankings onto a possible title shot, if not 1 or 2 fights before a title shot. Let's listen in.
Stoppage over Joey Spencer.
Thank you, man. First off, I want to thank my family, my whole team for the hard work in this camp. Al Heyman, Luis de Cubas, everybody with PBC, man. Thank you guys and Showtime. You know, I felt like I looked real good. I showed some angles. You know, after the first round knockdown, I got carried away with my power a little bit. So it took some time for me to start working on everything that I practiced in the gym.
How much did that knockdown in the first round change the complexion of this fight, just knowing what you had the capability of doing and with your aggression?
Yeah, you know, ever since that, like I said, I was just looking for that punch for like 2 or 3 rounds. And then my dad told me, you know, box him off behind the jab, use your angles. And I started doing that and I started landing more shots. You know, I started looking a lot better. So I think our game plan to begin with was better.
Let's take a look right here and tell us from your vantage point the knockdown. There it is.
Yeah, you know, he started trying to push me. He said he was stronger than me, so I assumed he was going to do that. He's going to try and push me. So I was staying composed. You know, I was looking for that right punch, and it came and I hurt him.
So you sit back in the locker room and your brother's fighting and you still have to fight.
Uncle.
What's the feeling and the nervous, anxious energy going through that?
You know, like I said, leading up to this fight, I get more nervous for his fights than mine. So him having to lose, you know, in a tough fight, very entertaining though. It was heartbreaking. You know, it's a bittersweet moment right now. I'm disappointed that he goes home with the loss, but it was a great camp overall. And past couple weeks, so I leave with a full heart that we did everything together.
And where would you like to go from here in this weight division?
hopefully keep taking down names like Joey Spencer. He was an undefeated fighter. He was a great guy. That I want to thank him as well for the opportunity. He's a great fighter, a lot of heart. So, hopefully we get another fight like that. It makes for an entertaining night.
Congratulations.
So, as I'm looking at the rankings, I'm trying to figure out, like, okay, who's a logical opponent for him to be next if it's not going to be a title shot? And I'm talking about within the promotional outfit of PBC. You think that if Sebastian Fundora beats Brian Mendoza, they're going to be fighting in a couple of weeks. You think maybe him? Maybe he goes right into the Sebastian Fundora fight. I think that makes sense. Is Remo Dreamov? Well, he's not in the stable. Danny Garcia may be fighting Iris Lindy Lara. That's floating around at a catchweight of 155. Erickson Lubin, you think, I don't think that's a good fight for Erickson Lubin. Him versus Ramos. And Lubin is going to be back against who? Forgot who he's supposed to be fighting. His name is linked to somebody. Luis Arias. There you go. On that Carlos Adames, Julian Williams card. And the Fundora card is going to be, by the way, this is a good card. Meaning this pay-per-view, I expected it to be good. With Cody Crowley defeating, by the way, I cursed all these fighters. For those who don't know, listen, I when I do predictions, and if I actually go out and do a prediction and put my heart into it, I always end up, not always, but I cursed everybody on this card. I'm talking about, I picked Abel Ramos to defeat Cody Crowley. Wrong. I picked Chris Colbert to beat Rayo Venezuela. He did, but that's dirty money, but we know that Rayo won. And I picked Joey Spencer to beat Jesus Ramos. And even worse, it's coming up next. I picked David Benavidez to beat Caleb Plant. So don't be surprised if Caleb Plant lose. I be cursing these fighters. And right now, Richard Comey and Jose Ramirez are in the ring, and I picked Jose Ramirez. But I would be happy if Jose Ramirez gets iced by Richard Comey, because he shouldn't be fighting Richard Comey in the first place. You see what I'm saying? But as far as I was looking to see when Sebastian Fundora fights. That's going to be on April the 8th, a couple of weeks. But as far as Joey Spencer is concerned, is he a masochist? You think we can see Jesus Ramos versus Bakram Murtazaliev of Charlton fighting first to get rid of that mandatory obligation? What's this? Is that Wawa up the top? I'm hungry. What's this? Savory sides order now? What is Wawa? That's how burgers now. I haven't had one since they had them. But anyway, Joey Spencer, that's the type of whooping, bro, that it's going to really make, put it this way. You know how Ruslan Provodnikov had the soul and never relinquished it of Timothy Bradley, and how Sergio Martinez took the soul of Chavez Jr. and kind of Chavez Jr. took his soul too, because Sergio Martinez was never the same. And how John Molina had took don't John Molina got two souls? Don't he has Lucas Matise's soul, or do Danny Garcia got that soul? I know Molina got Ruslan Provodnikov, so we haven't seen him since halfway. But I think that Jesus Ramos has the soul of Joey Spencer. I don't think Joey Spencer, that's the type of ass whooping that either you grow tremendously from or you ain't going to come back from. I don't know if Joey Spencer going to be the same after that, because he got beat up. And it was a huge jump up, technically kind of in competition to an extent. Because PBC has been showcasing this guy for years, and it's okay, when is he going to fight somebody? And he finally takes a step up, and he looks like complete shit. I'm talking about he ain't do nothing for us. But with that being said, let me get up out of here. The next fight's coming up, and I'm interested. I'm really hyped for Caleb Plant, David Benavidez, and Richard Comey and Jose Ramirez in the ring right now. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at TstreeTCONTROVERSY. Thanks for watching.